Imagine you're 18, living on a quiet Canadian farm, and the biggest secret on your land isn't the harvest. It's a captured flying saucer buried in the woods. In this story, we'll follow Wild Rose, a farmer's daughter with a birthmark like a seven-petaled flower. As she powers up that ship, flies to the far side of the moon, and unlocks an ancient archive that rewrites everything we think we know about angels, aliens, and humanity's origins. By the end, you'll see why the Watchers chose her and what it means when a lunar war machine kneels to a girl in muddy work boots. Wild Rose was only 18, a red-haired daughter of a quiet Canadian farmer. She should have been thinking about college applications or morning chores, but instead, she was sneaking out to power up a flying saucer she'd found half buried in the woods last summer. The craft hummed like 1,000 bees singing in harmony. Its panels lit with symbols she couldn't read, but somehow understood. Rose grinned to herself and whispered, "All right, girl. Let's see what secrets you're hiding today." Outside, the morning was still, and ordinary cows grazing. Wind combing the prairie until the saucer lifted. It rose silently through the broken barn roof, boards creaking and snapping. And with a flicker, it vanished into the sunrise. She'd spent weeks skimming over forests and mountains, testing the ship's limits. But today, it nudged her attention upward, beyond Earth, toward the moon's dark far side. A soft tone rang in her mind, half message, half memory, and maybe someone calling. She sighed, almost amused. "Okay, moon it is." The saucer answered like it had been waiting. Space curled around the hull like a whirlpool, and Earth shrank behind her in minutes. The far side of the moon rolled into view gray, silent, untouched for billions of years. Except, it wasn't untouched. Her ship descended toward a canyon too perfect to be natural, its edges razor straight, like something carved by machines long dead. A smooth panel of stone shimmered, then just dissolved, revealing a hidden hangar big enough to hold a small city. Rose stepped out, light as a feather in the low gravity, heart hammering. The walls around her glowed faint blue, waking up as she approached. "Hello," she whispered. The base answered. A sphere of light unfolded in front of her, the archives. It bloomed into floating crystalline tablets and shifting holographic murals, each one a living memory. A layered voice echoed all around her. "You are descendant of the observed world. Welcome, traveler." Cities of hovering metal and glass glided over oceans. Tall, luminous beings moved among gigantic automatons that shaped mountains like wet clay. Ships slipped in and out of dimensions as easily as birds diving through clouds. These were the Watchers the civilization whispered about in the Book of Enoch. Not angels, but scientists, explorers, engineers. The archives showed how they visited Earth long before humans walked upright, tuning early life the way a gardener prunes fragile seedlings. They refined genes, nudged evolution, and seeded myths we'd one day mistake for miracles. Then came the fall. Automatons turning against their makers, experiments slipping out of control, and a bitter split between those who wanted to uplift humanity and those who wanted to rule it. Enoch's stories called them fallen angels. But here, Rose saw something more complicated, a war over responsibility, not heaven. One memory pulled her closer. A gentle Watcher scientist with silver eyes leaned over a glowing pod, weaving strands of human DNA and alien light. Early humans, fragile, the archive murmured. We strengthened them, accelerated them. Some were chosen to carry our spark. The scientist traced a symbol on the pod, a flower with 7 petals. Rose's stomach dropped. The symbol on the pod, the 7-petaled flower, matched the freckles on her own shoulder. a birthmark she'd never been able to explain. She whispered, "What are you trying to tell me?" The archives answered with a blast of light that wrapped around her like a wave. In the blinding glow, another memory snapped into focus. A young human woman with hair like fire, maybe 17, stood among the watchers, calm and unafraid. She was one of their successful hybrids. Stronger, quicker, her mind wide open to their telepathy. They taught her to fly a saucer, to feel energy currents with her bones, to slip through folds of space like stepping over a creek. She became their emissary to Earth's early tribes, a star child whose visits would melt into legends of sky messengers and divine daughters. Watching herself in another lifetime, Rose gasped. "She looks like me," the archive's voice replied, calm and certain. Her line continues, "You are her echo." The floor shuddered. A low tremor rolled through the cavern, knocking dust from the ceiling. "Warning. Guardian unit awakening," the archive intoned. In the deepest shadows, something enormous stirred. A single blue eye opened like a spotlight. A massive automaton stepped forward, towering, ancient, armor cracked, but its core still burning with purpose. Rose stumbled backward toward the saucer. "Oh no. No, I'm not fighting that thing." But the Guardian didn't attack. The colossal machine slowed, then dropped to one knee. The metal echo booming like thunder in a vacuum. Its voice rumbled through the chamber. Pilot recognized. Bloodline authenticated. Command accepted. Rose froze, staring up. "I'm your commander?" "Correct," the Guardian replied. The archives shifted one last time, revealing a star map that filled the cavern. 3 symbols flared like beacons in the dark ancient Watcher outposts still scattered across the solar system, dormant and waiting for someone with hybrid blood to wake them. If these stations fall into the wrong hands, the archive warned, Earth's fate will mirror ours. The Watchers weren't gone. They had fled, some hiding, some plotting, all waiting for a moment like this. Rose looked from the map to the kneeling Guardian and felt the weight of a legacy settle on her shoulders. This wasn't just adventure anymore. This was inheritance. This was responsibility. She swallowed, then managed a crooked smile. "So, where do we start?" The Guardian raised one massive arm and pointed toward the red glow of Mars. "Pilot. First, we reclaim Mars." Rose laughed, half thrill and half disbelief. "Dad's gonna kill me if I'm not home by dinner," she muttered, climbing back into the saucer. The ship rose from the lunar base as the archives dimmed behind her, their last echoes fading into starlight. From the far side of the moon, Wild Rose 18, curious, fearless, tilted her saucer toward the red planet and gunned the engines, blasting off toward the next impossible chapter in a story that started in a quiet Canadian field. If you want to follow her journey to Mars and beyond, subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode.